All right, guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay Will. So pretty much this phone right here, this Ulefone Power 3, falls in line with most of the phones that I'm getting from GearBest. For instance, this one doesn't have LTE for the US, but it still has that premium hardware. You got a Ridge power button there. It's really nice. You've got 4 cameras on here, but they're not superior to anything that doesn't have 4 cameras. So that's kind of a selling point for them to say that this has 4 cameras and, you know, they're spectacular. Fact is, they just shoot pretty good photos and pretty good video. Decent audio is pretty good too. This phone does have 6 gigs of RAM with 64 gigs onboard storage. It is the 18:9 ratio with 1080p, which is kind of the norm going forward for all of these devices, not just these phones that I'm getting from GearBest or phones that aren't currently specifically made for the US, but pretty much throughout the industry. I think switching to 18:9 is going to be something that OEMs just do. And whether we like it or not, we're going to have to just get used to it. This phone right here has pretty slim bezels. It's pretty good. Not the most slim bezels, but still, I mean, what could you ask for 200 bucks? It's a very good looking phone. Now, the key selling point for this phone, they might say it's the 4 cameras, but I say it's the 6,080 milliamp hour battery inside this thing. It's still got a pretty slim profile. The design is something that we're very familiar with already. Nothing that stands out about this phone is going to make it just so great. But the fact is, it's pretty nice, and you get a lot of stuff in the box. You get pretty much everything in the box to get you going, and performance on here is decent. There's no problems with it, but it's just not something that it just makes it pop as a wow factor for. I would tell a person, oh, run out and get that. Besides the cameras and the battery. Now the cameras, while you do have 4, like I said before, they're average at best. With the battery life though, you will go at least 4 days to 6, maybe even 7 days on this battery. Because it has a MediaTek processor clocked at 2.0 gigahertz, it's really nice. It has an SD card slot. It can take up to a 256 gig card. Now it is running Android 7.1. But that's not such a bad thing because 7.1 is stable, and you know it's running 7.1.1 as you can see. So 7.1 is stable, but you know I'm really ready for OEMs to release their phones with the latest operating system. And it's unfortunate right now if it's not a Google phone or some phone that's linked to Google directly. Pretty much the entire market is releasing phones with software that's not up to date, except for Apple and their iOS products. When they release a phone, it's released with the latest update, and they only do it once a year, obviously, but at least they do release it with the latest operating system. So I'm kind of tired of phones releasing with old software, but sometimes that's a good thing. It's a good thing. So it's not such a bad selling point, but I think consumers are going to start to catch on. And, you know, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. This phone is loaded with gestures like facial recognition. The facial recognition is used by the camera, obviously. And it's, you know, it's something that you got gestures and things like that. Some of the things that are in here, there's nothing, they are unique to this phone. But it's nothing that you haven't seen before. Like you've got this fingerprint reader, you've got a dual tone LED flash, you got a flash on the front. Those are things that you've seen before. You've got one hand mode, things like that. You know, pretty much this is a stock Android device, and it's going to run fairly smooth for you. It's just that when you compare this to phones like the Xiaomi Mi A1, which isn't an 18:9 ratio phone, but it's still a very good phone, and it's a much better phone than this, outside of the battery. You know, this phone right here outperforms a lot of phones in the battery department. And, you know, an area that I don't talk about much is call quality and text messaging and things like that. Call quality on here on T-Mobile and Cricket/AT&T is great. No problems with it at all. I don't have any problems with it. That's just what it is. The phone does have 6 gigs of RAM, like I said before, so it's kind of speedy, but it still is. And I've gotten over this MediaTek processor thing. I don't have a problem with the MediaTek processor, so I wanted to give you kind of a full review on this thing because it's nothing that when I got this one, I was excited about the 6 gigs of RAM, but I was more excited about the battery, and it performed just like I thought it would It gave me long battery life, about 5 days straight. Screen on time obviously is a little bit less because I didn't use it as much. But you should be able to get, if you were to pound this out straight through with heavy use, you could make it through a day with easily 10 hours of screen on time, easily. And into the next day more than likely, because I've been on this same charge for 12 days. And it's going on 13 days. But that was very light use, you know, so bear that in mind. If you want a phone that you don't have to put on the charger and don't have to worry about charging it, you can definitely grab this phone. Now, you should get 3G on Cricket/AT&T, because I got 3G for a little bit on T-Mobile for some reason. It popped up. So, and that might be because of that 2100 band. This phone has a 2100 band for 3G and 4G. So maybe that's why I got 3G for a little bit, but I don't know. But just a quick update on this device here. This is the Ulefone Power 3 4G phablet. And it's the characteristics of the way they're selling this is battery and cameras. And in the camera department, it does pretty good. In the battery department, it does fantastic. It has great build quality. It looks pretty decent. So check the link in the description if it's something you're interested in. It's your man, Jay Will, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.